is still standing, and it's right in front of you. This building was built in 1927 to replace a much smaller structure that was constructed in 1924. This building was built in a neoclassical style, which is completely out of ordinary for our town. It's probably one of the only fine examples of that, although most of it has been covered up. Joe Young had it built by the architecture firm Rubish & Hunter, who was the main architectural firm of Hollywood, the City Beautiful. And when it was constructed, Joe Young was the first president. It survived as the longest continuously operating bank site in the county. This thing opened as a bank site in 1924, and only within the last year did a bank move out of it. It was always a bank, and not even the Great Depression could take it down. And the reason it's so huge is because in the 20s, you wanted a bank to mean something when you walked in. It had to be big, it had to be ornate, and inside of this building are gigantic columns. Behind each one of these walls, these square protruding walls, it's hollow, are the big columns that you see in the picture. They're still there, they couldn't take them out. So they did a major renovation of this building in the 90s to try to bring it back to what it was in the 20s. So the way it looks now is what it looked like more in the 20s, and if you scroll through the pictures, you'll see how it looked in the 50s. It didn't look anything like it looks now. So they actually brought it back to the way it looked before. This building has been celebrated as a historic structure for many, 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 many years, until just recently. Now, unfortunately, people are saying that this building is all of a sudden not historic, and that maybe it needs to be torn down, and that maybe we need to put some more condos right on the boulevard, which there aren't any. And might I note that this also is a historic district, and that Hollywood is the only city in the entire state that's listed on the National Register of Historic Places as an intact historic business district. Nobody else has it. We're the only ones. If we start pecking away at our district, we could lose that one and only designation. So when all the chatter started happening about this building not being historic, it's because, I don't know if you guys know what an opportunity zone is. An opportunity zone is a tax cut that President Trump enacted, and it allowed for certain areas that are underserved to be in an opportunity zone. If you are lucky enough to have an opportunity zone and you own the land, it's a massive tax cut for anybody that has a capital gains tax liability. So if you have $1 billion in stock and you sold it and you owe $1 million in taxes, you can invest your money right here and build something and wash your capital gains tax. It's a tax cut for rich people. So now, the developer of this site owns the building, the lot next door, all the way to Tyler Street and all the way to Dixie Highway. So it's not enough to develop all that. This is in the way as well. So when all the chatter started happening in 2018, when this got declared an opportunity zone, this plaque mysteriously disappeared off the building. How inconvenient. If you read the plaque, it does say, historical site, historic renovation of this building completed in 1990 by SunTrust, successor to Hollywood State Bank, which was the original bank here, and founded by Joseph Young, the first mayor of the city of Hollywood, dedicated by the Hollywood Historical Society, and more importantly, and the city of Hollywood. So the city of Hollywood seems to think that this is historic, and the Hollywood Historical Society and anybody else that you talk to knows this building is historic. It was our first bank. It was the bank that financed Joe Young's company to build the city, and he was the president, and it's still standing in all its massive glory. The reason it's so big is because it made a statement. So we're very saddened to think that when you walk around Hollywood that our historic district is under assault, and for no other reason than a tax break. And that's the saddest thing of all. And when you walk around and you see what's happening to the Great Southern, and you see what's happened to all our other historic buildings, people say, why did they tear them down? When did they do that? Well, now it's happening right in front of us again. And so everybody needs to be aware and start spreading the word that this is happening yet again for no reason. This is a perfectly good building. It was renovated. There's offices that are still being rented upstairs, and well, it's not making money because you don't want it to make money. That's what's going on here. And you can go to Miami and find 3 old bank buildings just like this. The original safe is still in here, by the way, and it's gigantic, that they've converted into incredible entertainment spaces. The space in here, the ceiling is super high. It's like walking into a Greek temple. So just put that in your mind if you live in Hollywood, and email everybody that you know in the city and let them know that this is important to you and you don't want to see it go.